I'm officially the witch. That's right.
For some reason,
You don't know how
it's not recording, so I'm gonna record it on my phone. This is streaming live,
Are you
but
okay?
it's not gonna record.
Why not?
Because I delete the other one. So what I'll do is I'll just let you know what to do.
You have the next turnover, don't you?
How's it downstairs? Pretty much everybody up?
Right here.
Stand over here.
Or you just stream it just in case?
No, it's streaming,
Okay.
but it won't record on
No more USB.
Be surprised.
So, there's a block that you, that's a good idea. 10, 15 miles. Yeah, no fishing. It pumps in the USB and then it's gonna make it forward. Okay. Some are powered. Some are just, some are not powered. Gotcha.
Okay, welcome everybody. I just wanted the whole purpose of today was to say thank you. Thank all of you, because none of this would have happened unless you showed up and came, even though there were a few. I don't know if Maggie just remembers, we did a couple of services when you guys were the only ones there. We still came that week and I had the service all done. I said, I'm still gonna do it. And this is not about gathering though too, because this is all the other things that I was called to do as far as ministry. Because 30 years ago when I got ordained, I did not think I would do anything with this. In fact, I just had to get a job, a real job. And I did, but still continue to do this. So through sitting with some of you during the darkest, hardest times was a great honor for me that you would call me or say, yes, come over when you didn't want anybody else there. That was a beautiful thing to be a witness for you, to bless babies, to do work for the interfaith community and calling a lot of the different clergy to task to stand up for interfaith means everybody's included, not just different Christian denominations, which is what it was 30 years ago. One synagogue and 3 different Christian denominations was called interfaith. Today, even in Huntington, the Huntington Thanksgiving service has Sikhs, Baha'is, Jains, Buddhists. We have everybody's Hindus. We do such great work together as a community. So there was a lot of different stuff. Many people I got to meet along the way. I was honored to do work with the Millennium Goals for the United Nations, the work with Suffolk County Antibiotics Task Force in helping to develop the Dignity for Students Act in New York State. So many things as clergy that I was able to accomplish because you guys said, yeah, you're a minister, do it. And so I did. So most of you have heard the story of this robe. I know it's overkill for today, but I have some.
I want to hear it.
You know, one of the things that I'm not for the big foo, the huge foo-foo things. And here I am wearing the big. I don't have the tall hat. Thank you. There we go. So. It's because it was just an honor. I just came back from France, and with these extraordinary women that I went with, there was 10 of us total, and there's several of them. We were in Lourdes, France, and I saw this in the window, and I just said, I think I need to buy that robe. And asked Patty, those of you know Patty is shopper #1. Said, we're going shopping for a robe. And all the women got involved and they loved it. And the women in the shop said they've never sold a robe to a woman clergy ever in the whole history of Lourdes. And we were at a place that was celebrating divine feminine, right? And no clergy wore robes. We went to all these churches that were celebrating Mary Magdalene as a saint, the Divine Mother, all these different women of the Bible that were there, that worked, that did so much work, and not one woman celebrated a mass, said some words, were there for them. So it was a great kind of, hopefully, that's why I'm wearing it today, crack in the cosmic egg of equality for all of us. It's not one over the other, it's we have to do it side by side, and that's the way it works. If we don't do it side by side, we're all gonna fall down, you know, so I'm very excited, and you know, hopefully we can get the video to show the ladies that I did wear it today. When I got ordained, and this is a lovely picture of Emily Andrews, she was called her my other mother. Her daughter and I, oldest friend, we know since 5th grade. And so Emily actually went to seminary at the same time as I did, and we didn't know it because she was doing corresponding and I was going to seminary. And when we got to see that we were both in the same class, it was really cool. And then when they lined us up to be ordained, we were walking side by side. So it was really beautiful. So she had a lot of people there who were supporting her, thought she was great, did wonderful things. So they took a lot of pictures of her. So I just did it for just to have a place of solace, to just find my own self in the midst of a difficult time in my life. And so I don't have pictures. This is one picture here too, is when the actual moment when Rabbi Gardner put his hands on my head to ordain me, and that was at the Cathedral of St. John Divines. Amazing place, so please take the time to go there and see it. It is just amazing. If they do a winter solstice concert there, if you haven't seen it with all band members, Woodland Hill, right, they have the wolves howling, they put the sun come up in the middle of the cathedral, and it's just really cool. So anyway, that's the thing about that. Gathering started I was ordained in June, and gathering started in January of the next year, so 96. So I was ordained in 95, and so 96 is when gathering started. And for those of you who don't know, gathering was not my idea again. I started getting phone calls from people saying, is there an interfaith fellowship on Long Island? Because there was one in the city at the time. And I said, no, but if I hear of something, I'll call you. I got another phone call and another phone call. And for those of you who realized from the service this morning, I put everything in order. Everybody got all their detailed handouts of the way it's going to go. I wrote down all the names and numbers of all the 9 people. I got 9 phone calls. Now, I didn't think I was going to do too much with my ministry, but when you're ordained at the Cathedral, St. John Divines, and you're right there, and they're laying hands on you, and they're saying, you know, when you get called, you better listen. After 9 phone calls, I'm like, am I going to get struck by lightning or something? I don't do this. Like, I don't know how all this works, because there was no follow-up, you know? It was like, good luck, out the door. So anyway, so I just called those people back, and to this day, none of the 9 came. And where they are, neither did. But 9 others came. We were lovely. We had Brenda Kennedy. Brenda fell and broke her ankle. She's in rehab today. She wants to say hello. She came with her significant other at the time, Eric Angel Bill, who can't be with us. Say he was one of the other ones that were there. So we had a little circle. I was late for the first service. Again, reluctant, didn't think this was gonna work, you know. And so we showed up every week for 30 weeks, for 30 years, yeah. We missed, the first one we missed was a snowstorm. And then, you know, even COVID, we went all gung-ho and did things. So much to it, and there's so much there. There's babies that, we have, those of you who know Tanya, the superstar bingo, we were able to perform her wedding, baptize her daughter, did like a communion with them. We did all kinds of things. We made it unique. We made it for the family, brought everybody in. There's just been so many things. So anyway, but today I wanted to thank everybody who believed in me and believed in all the ideas and allowed me to be of service to you. And with the help, of course, of my hubby and the wind beneath my wings and my helper, even though it is, believe me, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world.
It is.
I'm very distracted and have a lot on my shoulders, and sometimes that means I'm passing, like ships passing in the night, but he does a lot for that, so thank you for that. So, and it's going to be open mic. I want you to hear some stories. Come on up, tell something. I said a roast. Joe's waiting for some kind of a roast. That's my son-in-law. So I will sit there, and we will hopefully have stories or something else that inspires you want to say. So, who would like to come up? You have to use the mic or people won't hear you. So, yeah. So, no, I'm going to sit there. I want to sit there. So, everybody can see me if I sit here, right? I can see the speakers better if I sit there. Yeah. Okay. Like my head.
Hi, my name's Anne, and I just wanted to say that Reverend Joanne was very instrumental in changing my life. I had 2 exposures to her prior to coming to Gathering. One was at a bookstore that a woman named Bobby owned, and we did a peace vigil out front with candles. And then also at the Huntington Fall Festival, I saw the booth with Reverend Joanne and a bunch of people singing, and it just resonated with me like you wouldn't believe. So I finally found my way to St. Lawrence, which was, I guess, a little over 20 years ago. I was newly sober, and if anyone knows that experience, I was raw. I was hysterical every day of my life. I was feeling 30 years worth of feelings that I had numbed. And I would come to service, and I would sit there, and I would bawl my eyes out. And at that point, we did a circle with candles, and we held hands, and we got to share. And I just felt, I don't know, I was able to be a part of, even though I wasn't as involved as many of you are. And I've been in and out, and now back for at least a year or so, and I'm just so forever grateful because you helped to heal me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Craig. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, I was in a church basement, and I met this man, and he said, I'm playing at the Conklin Barn tonight. Why don't you come down? I did. She remembers, and she's smiling. Excuse me. And I went to see this concert, and it was there I met Reverend Joanne and Annie and other people that aren't here, Peter, who I played in a band with in college. And they said, we have this service we go to every Saturday, and we play music. We play bass, why don't you come down? That was the next day, it was Friday, Saturday. I went, and I never left. As Anne was saying, there was a time in my life where things were really horrific. For the hour and a half service, the noise in my head went away, and I felt at peace, and I felt loved and cared for, and accepted. And that's why I keep coming. My children grow up coming here. They have good memories, and this is just a safe place. And it's drawn me here for 24 years. Thank you, Joanne.
experience with Joanne and with Gathering of Light is that my life is certainly a divine journey. And that's the story, because, you know, just as I was looking for something, I was searching for something, it was a long time ago now. I really don't even remember how many years, but it's been a good 15 years or so. And I just went online and I found Gathering of Light, and I started to read about Reverend Joanne. And it was like, oh, thank you, God. And it was just so obvious that this was a person that I wanted to be around. And I don't know if you remember, but I wrote you an email, and I just said, everything that I read about you, I don't remember exactly what I said, but something along the lines of that everything I read about you feels perfect, feels just what I'm looking for. And I was waiting to see if she would write me back, because so many people, I feel, if I project, just don't really want to take that time. She doesn't know who I am. And she wrote me back a really inviting email to come down to Gathering of Light. And of course I did. And it was wonderful. I felt like Divine brought me here to meet Joanne and to meet the members of Gathering of Light, who now I feel are part of my family. But one of the greatest things, I mean, that is certainly great. I don't even want to just skirt over that, just being around everyone from Gathering and knowing that I can come here, be accepted, be just the way that I am, and be, you know, that is a wonderful gift, and it's taught me to try to give that gift as often as I can. But I'll end on just saying that in my life, when I look around and I say, who can I really, really count on? Like, who's got my back? And I always feel like Reverend Joanne has my back. She's just always there, and I feel extremely blessed to be part of her congregation and also to have gone through her seminary to become a reverend, and it's made a great difference in my life. So thank you, Joanne.
Well, my name is Carmen, for those of you that don't know me. I'm one of the newbies at Gathering of Light. I've only been here since 2018. I was actually my life was okay. I was happily married. But there was always something that I was looking for, something else. I was brought up Roman Catholic, but I had all of these other beliefs, but I always kept them in. I couldn't share them. I was too afraid to do so. And I was very much in touch with nature and with the moon. So I was looking for something that had to do with the moon, and here I find a meetup through a friend of mine, and I find Gathering of Light, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice name to it. So I went, wasn't sure what I was going to find, but I see Reverend Joanne sitting with her sound bowls and making this beautiful noise. It was just it transported me, made me feel wonderful. So I started to come, and the more I came, the more I really enjoyed it. Years went by, I lost my husband, and a few months after that, Reverend Joanne approached me and said, you know, it might be a good thing for you to become a seminarian. And I'm like, what is that? I'm very shy, actually. If you would have known me 15, 20 years ago, I normally would have kept in a corner, invisible, trying not to, you know, let anybody know that I'm there. And here I am standing in front of you, and it's because of Gathering of Light. And if those of you that were here at the ceremony today and saw me, this is what Reverend Joanne has made out of me. She has brought the spirit out. She made me yell and cry, and it's a new me. I'm embracing it, and it's all because of this wonderful human being that's in my life. Thank you.
Bless me, Mother, for I have sinned. No, I don't have to do that here, and I love it. So when I came here, it's actually, Sheila actually told me about, there you are, Sheila, thank you so much. And I came here for a healing service, and I didn't know what it was, and I really didn't understand the idea of the whole interspiritual fellowship, but I was really embracing my spiritual side, and I was excited to see what it was. And I came super early, and Jerry and Prayasi made me feel very welcome, and I was just waiting for the healing part. And I came, I participated, and I just fell in love with the energy and the people and just the flow of everything. And you know, and I just really enjoyed it in a way that I hadn't enjoyed any kind of a service for a long time. And so I am so grateful. And all I was thinking when you were telling that story about the calls that came in was like, talk about getting a calling. You got 9 of them. But a little time had passed, and they came talking about the seminary. And I was like, no, I just retired. I'm going to travel. I'm not going back to school. And I don't know what happened, but somehow spirit just comes out when I'm around you, Reverend Joanne, because before I knew what was happening, the words came out of my mouth asking for an application, and I was Carmen's colleague. Not really knowing what hit me, but excited about traveling within and not really knowing all the destinies that I would encounter on that journey. And I'm still discovering them. But it has been the greatest blessing to have stumbled upon you. So I honor you and I thank you. And I might confess my sins.
Hi, my name is Mitch.
Hello, Mitch.
Hello! I'm a lot newbier than Carmen. I've just been here a year and a half or so. And at the time, I had just met Ann. Well, maybe not just, but, everything was new to me after being in a relationship for 14 years and just leaving it. My own reasons. The point is I had a lot of inner things that I never wanted to face, whether it be out of guilt or whether it be out of innocence, for that matter. You know, why me kind of thing. And I'm a little bit nuts. And I found all these nuts around me that are just so freaking nice, man. I mean, how do you avoid that if you're a nut yourself? You know? And I've had nothing but comfort. I've had many resolves. I've learned that forgiving others is really good for you because you don't need any of their crap on your shoulders anymore anyway. And I find the depth of forgiveness goes deeper and deeper with every service I've come to. So I'm really just happy that I'm here and people are so accepting no matter who you are or what you are or what you think you are, because you're probably more than that once you come to. And you ran the show, so it got to start somewhere. And I mean, when I was troubled, Joanne knew, and she asked, and she looked into things and whatnot. It wasn't like I was just in trouble on my own. And for that, I'm extremely grateful to you and everybody here.
The first line that Reverend Joanne said was participate at whatever level you feel comfortable at. And when I first came, I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't quite sure what was going on and what I was in for. But I participated. And Reverend Joanne got us through some really dark times with a lot of passings and stuff like that. And when the day that my dad died, we ran out of here, and all of a sudden I turned around, and there she was at St. Catherine's, there to check on me. But my favorite happy memory was the fact that she was able to officiate our wedding. We worked really hard. It wasn't a quick, I'm gonna marry you. It was, we had homework, we had things to do, we had to write all these things, and it was a lot of work. But it was the most wonderful day of my entire life. And I had a lot of experience at getting married. But she made our wedding service exactly what we wanted it to be. It was a service of family. Everybody took part in it. And even when things got crazy, we didn't have our rings, and she's like, it's not a big deal. It's okay. We'll do a little thing on the side in the reception with the rings later on. Don't worry. And we didn't, and it was the best day of my life. And I would have never thought that giving up my husband to Reverend Joanne, being the president of GOL, having to share him with her, and she calls, he runs. It is what it is. Phil and I are able to bond over the fact that,
It's a good thing you're sitting in the corner.
they're wrapped up in it and we're on the side. But I wouldn't change a thing, and I am so very blessed that she taught me so much and brought out things in me that I didn't even realize were there. And I am also in seminary, and nothing has been a better calling, bigger sacrifice, bigger, just a heartfelt feeling than to be of service. And the idea of being of service to everyone here and leading by her example is incredible. Thank you.
Hello, dear ones. So I met our beloved Reverend Joanne when she came to my seminary class. I was about to graduate from the same seminary that Joanne had been in, and she was actually recruiting, and she came looking for an intern. And I said, where is this place? On Long Island. Uh-oh, I live on Long Island. I'm kind of looking for a place to call home when I come out of seminary, because of course that was in New York City. So I started coming out to 12 Pines, and in the beginning it's just very, very rudimentary stuff, putting things on the altar, just handing out programs, but getting to know the people, right? And then it grew from there, and it grew from there, and it grew from there. And I remember back to the times with Lou Robles and Annie, I just saw you, where are you, Annie? Oh God, I love you, Annie. And Gerard, and we worked together, and we just had kids growing up together and letting everyone absorb. But the biggest things were the changers. There was always change. And I was running a nonprofit organization in early education at the time, so I was called to that as well. And one of the things that you see always in a growing organization is how much you have to be able to go with the flow, grow with the flow. And Joanne really embodied that. You know, all the iterations and the changes and the growth and meeting the needs of the people where they are, meeting people where they are, helping them with what they need when they need it. It was a very, very big thing. You can find that. You don't find that in most any kind of religious organization. The fellowship, it wasn't only the message, and the messages have always been profound, but it was the sense of making, let's say, everyone says family so lightly, but the true sisterhood, brotherhood of our fellowship, you know, that grew and grew and grew. And I think we all did too. I know I have. In the times that my husband was sick, and I went back to get an advanced degree too. Joanne was very there supportive, because I couldn't be present at the gathering at that time. You know, falling to all kinds of other experiences, but back and forth, in and out. And Joanne was there for my 25th anniversary of my marriage before my husband died, and we renewed our vows, and Joanne was there for that. A very big moment. But basically what makes Joanne so very, very capable is she creates a safe space. She exudes the trust that we need to grow, to let ourselves be vulnerable, to experience the divine in our own. She encourages that. That's the hallmark of the gathering. And this resilience, this throwing with the flow, the tolerance, you don't see this in other places. And she found it gathering on those principles. Just meeting these challenges, growing with the flow, that she sets the example. And if only we could all live up to that.
Can't take too much more of this stuff.
Hey peeps,
Hey!
glad we're all here together.
Your name for the camera.
You give me a chance. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Carrie.
Everybody knows you. Hi, Carrie.
I try to go by Camille, but it just. So, I met Reverend Joanne begrudgingly, you would say, because I didn't want to believe it was true. I was in organized religion for a very long time. I loved Jesus for as long as I can remember as a little kid. But for as long as I can remember, I also knew I was gay. And the two things seemed juxtaposed. There's no such thing as a lesbian Christian. So what in God's name am I to do? I led a celibate lifestyle for about 17 years and went to a Christian seminary leadership school and got very involved in this church. Still felt gay. They asked me to run a group to help other gays not be gay, but I was still gay. So I did it, and I went through the program. It was outlined and everything else. Went through the whole program, tried to help other people. Still gay. 17 years, all my friends are in this church. My life, it was my life. These were my friends. This was my pastor. I was giving my life of service to these people. But I had to be watched. I couldn't go to the bathroom alone. Couldn't be in certain ministries because I was gay. But I wanted Jesus so bad that I would do anything they asked. I went to conversion therapy. I got shock treatment. I did everything they asked me to do. And finally, I went toe to toe with this pastor. And I said, I'm still gay. And the bottom line was, you can treat it as a sin and keep trying to do the right thing, what you're doing, or you gotta go. And I chose to leave. And for 9 years, I wandered around with this hole in me.
And I went to therapy, and the therapist said, you gotta check out Reverend Joanne Gathering of Light. They won't care. I said, well, as a Christian, I don't know about that part. But they won't care about being gay, you know? So I figured, okay, maybe it's gonna be a trade-off. I might have to worship Buddha or something, but at least I can be gay. So I finally came in, and it was a healing service. So I didn't get to tell anyone I was gay. I just sat there during the healing service, and somebody prayed for me and whatever, and I wasn't sure if I liked it or didn't like it. Didn't necessarily meet Reverend Joanne at that time. And then finally, I don't know what exactly came first, but I either talked to you or I wrote to you an email, and I explained just pretty much what I said to you guys. And her reaction was like, and? You kidding me? I wasted 9 years bringing up, trying to get my energy up to a place where I could come into this place. So that's like what you have to say, and the whole thing was just a non-thing. Come just as you are. We love you just the way you are. Even Jesus loves you just the way you are. Nobody told me that. 12 years of a Catholic school. No one ever told me Jesus loved me just the way I am. That happened here. And my life is so much more open and involved and willing to help and grow and learn. I'm all in this place. I'm not in seminary. I don't have those initials after my name or anything, but I am all in. And whatever Joanne needs, and she knows it, it's usually in the background where no one sees me, but believe me, I'm all in. I love you, Cal.
I got blue shoes on. They're not suede though, but they match your robe. So we didn't even call each other about the color. So my name is Annie Mark, and Gathering found me, or I found Gathering, April of 1999. 2 months after my husband, Zach's father, died. And I was looking for a spiritual home. And I went to a few different places, and the music would be great. And then I'd hear the message, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. It's like, open, no. And I walked into Gathering. I still call in the directions and call in the angels and the elements, and that just, I could feel it just settle my whole body down. Joanne was so welcoming. Zach was 3 years old, and I love hearing the kids, your grandchildren, because, kids belong in these places, that sound, I love that sound. But I knew I belonged here when we were in a circle and we had the candles, and we were extending light to each other, and my hair caught on fire. And I was like, this is my home. I mean, we had the Pentecostal service earlier, and it was the holy fire. I was like, yeah, that was what happened. And Zach would be climbing the tall pines. He was climbing everything, and my prayer to God at that point was help. I'm a musician, that the music be used, and I became music minister at Gathering. And then one day Joanne was like, the application for seminary is going, and I was like, and I had already been feeling that call over years, and I would just be like, me? What? No, I don't think so. That must be. And I applied, and the day I sent off my application, we were on a picnic with Gathering, and we went on a horseback riding trail. And when I got back to our home in Amityville, I was living in Amityville with Joanne, we would chant there. And I just felt the spirit of love just flow through me like liquid love. But Joanne was always so welcoming to me to Zach, who is now plays music at Gathering, which makes me cry every time I come. And his fiance Carolina. Maggie was 11, Regis was 13, Brian 15 or 16, Artie was 18, just graduating.
Marty was 18.
Artie was, no, not that Artie. All Joanne's kids. And we would go to, we'd hang out in your pool and playing the music for the service. And me and would do Little Lights planning. And there's so many stories. But, what? Sandra, Patrice, yeah. Well, we went to seminary together. The other thing that Joanne provided when I was in seminary was, seminary didn't offer this, but Joanne said, I know I needed this kind of thing, which was, she started a group for me and a group of us that were in seminary to really go into a deep dive into the process, which was, I don't even know what I would have done without that. And then doing an internship with Katie and Cliff for a year, cleaning up and all these things. And I don't know, I'm going on. But Joanne, you helped paint the new place that we moved to in Northport. You with Zach, I took Zach to everything, Solstice, and all these things. He would correct me when I would chant without the right pronunciation. And you just have always been, you answered the call, you inspire me because you stayed faithful. I can be more like, what am I doing now? I'll do this for 5 years. I was here for a long time, but you stayed faithful to this call for here, and it's so needed, and I'm just grateful for you. I love you.
Better known as Reverend Diva. So I met Joanne when I came out of seminary. 2010. Thank you. 2010. And when I first met Joanne, she was my spiritual counselor. So I called her up and I said, I think something about an internship. Well, we had a conversation, then I ended up going, and she was my spiritual counselor. And I told her all my secrets, the good, the bad, the evil, the non-evil, the untouchable. She knew all of that. And then what happened is we became friends. And when you become friends, she no longer could be my spiritual counselor. And what happened is there was such a sincerity and a relatedness that I had with her as a person. So we co-founded a seminary, of which I'm very proud of. We have worked very hard with that seminary, not only on seminary, but on ourselves, on myself spiritually, on herself spiritually. We did not always agree, but I don't think we ever argued, did we? We've never had an argument. We've had disagreements, but that's not an argument. So she has brought to me a permission to look different things. I call myself an interspiritual, new thought, Christian minister who loves Jesus.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And that is an acceptance from her and everybody who knows me. I also come here on Sundays to Unity. Gathering of Light is my home, and so is Unity. there's a community sense that we have at the Gathering of Light that I have not had anyplace. I was brought up in a Black Baptist church that had good music. And thank God for that. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? That, I think, brought up a depth of who and what you are. And Joanne has that. She has the saying, she has the feeling of a Martin Luther King, of a Lewis when she gets up here. You had to be here this morning to hear the Spirit come up through her, and it hit everybody else. But it started with her. So Joanne is my personal friend. She is my minister. I don't know what else to say about her. We just walk the walk and talk the talk, whatever she says. Oh yeah, when my husband was sick, she was there. When my husband died in 2016, and I will never forget this, we took him off the machines, and Joanne and I sat for an hour and a half. She sat with me, just talking, just connecting. Her son had died, and her son died, and my son died, and she did the same thing for me. When it came time for me to move to another apartment, who was there? Joanne. When I needed something because I was sick, who was there? Joanne. You don't forget this. This is a genuine woman from the heart who speaks and walks the walk. Amen. So I didn't get up here to preach, but I probably will, about her. You have to know her. You know, this is not an easy job. People expect you to be a certain way. I'm not as gentle as Joanne.
That's the understatement of the year.
I figure I am in the age of ventorship. That means I'm not old. I have the right to say what I want when I want. So, yeah, and I do. But in a loving aspect of just being there and being supported. I can call her and I can tell her anything personal and it doesn't go anywhere. The same thing she can do with me. So you need that kind of support. You need that love. You need that bolstering. She gives you. She gives it to me. I don't know about y'all, but she gives it to me. But I love this woman. Come and support the Gathering of Light. When you come here, you will find this is something totally different. This is not about religion. This is about love, 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 and the joy of God.
Praise the Lord.
My name is Amy. I am grateful to say that I've been a member since about 2014. I actually came to Gathering as a first date, unbeknownst to my wife. She invited me to the bowling bowler-thon, and I saw that as a great opportunity to spend time with her. And there was like 30, 40 people at the bowler-thon, and I loved everybody. It's like, wow, you know, like this is a really great group of people. About a month later or something, I finally made it to worship service, and afterwards happened to be the Passover Seder. And Camille invited me to stay for the Seder, and I just felt home. It was like the first time in my life that I felt home. I experienced a lot of churches and temples, and I was trying to find myself, you know, back history. My sister converted when I was a little child, and to be Jewish from Episcopal. And when she died, there were people that told me that, like, she wouldn't go to heaven because she wasn't Christian anymore. And I was 10, and I was like, no, wrong, that is not right at all. So I spent until I was in my 50s before I found a place that agreed with me. You know, God loves everybody, and it doesn't matter what denomination you are you have to love a God in your heart. And, love is love is love. So, so grateful to Reverend Joanne for so many things, but my wife and I were married by Reverend Joanne, and she supports gay marriage, hallelujah, and I'm also seminarian, and it's changed my life. It set me on like a true north trajectory for myself, and I'm very grateful.
I can't believe you're 30 years old. I'm Reverend Wally, Reverend Walter. I met Joanne almost 25 years ago, do you know that? And my cousin, who passed away a few years ago, was not very religious at all, very challenged. And I had a problem with Course in Miracles, because, where's Lori? The book stayed on my shelf for like 5 years. And every time I went by and picked it up, I go, nah, it doesn't work.
Wait, who said that?
I said it to the noticer, right? We had to talk about the noticer today. So the noticer said, put it back. So I did, for 5 years, no kidding. And the book actually fell down a couple of times in saying that. So my cousin calls me one day, who's not at all, she wasn't at all, she was an ex-alcoholic, had a problem, she worked through her life, but not spiritual at all. She called me, she goes, would you like to go to a Course in Miracles group? Who is this? My cousin calling me, I said, it's been on my shelf for years, I mean, and you're telling me I should go to this? I went, and I met Joanne, right, one of those ladies that were there, I was a guy, with 8 ladies, it was very interesting. And then she goes, yeah, you should join my church, I said, yeah, be a good idea. And I go, you mean that, really? She goes, yeah. So along the way, we had many things that I did. I got involved with the music, and I did the music. Not as good as you, Zach. Where are you? Yeah, these kids are good. These guys, Carolina, these guys, that was so much fun. Today was great. And I did the music. She called me on a Thursday. We need a song about, well, recently it was about, what was it, Artie? Miracles. We need a song about miracles. How about this one? It was a rock piece, like by a rock band. And I'm going like, first of all, I've never heard it before. I went to music school, and she wants me to, like, replicate this song. But that wasn't the first time she said, can you sound like Barbara Streisand? I like the way she does this Jewish song. And she'd say it like a day or two before, like, you turn the radio and put that program on there. It took hours. And one day I worked on, I don't know what it was, I worked on it for an hour and a half, 2 hours. She called me, she goes, I don't think we're going to use that song. I said, Joanne, I worked for like 2 hours on that. Don't you understand? You have to study, practice it. Yeah, no, we'll do something else. So then I did some work with Course in Miracles. I said, Joanne, and this for a while, we worked at Course in Miracles. I said, can we meet like once a week and do how Course in Miracles works in my life? And we did that. It was like really, really good. And I encourage seminarians, do the Course in Miracles, please. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at you, Lauren. And what was I saying? Time's up. Oh, I would talk with her, and she'd look at me, and somebody was alluding to this. I was talking to me. I talk and I tell her stuff, and she'd just look at me, and I'm going like, I think I told her too much. I don't think, if I were her, I'd never want to see me again. But she has that quality. You could tell her, you're an axe murderer, and she'll go, yes, the Lord's with you. And not feel bad at all. Go work it out, Molly. You will.
Just breathe.
Breathe. Then as my consciousness grew, and seriously now it did, and I said, Joanne, call up. I said, you know, the things I need are the things that just show up. There's no resistance. Just accept. Right, we're going to talk about this next week, but accept the moment. And I really worked on it. We worked together on these things. And she called me last summer, and I was on Shelter Island, my house. I was on my boat, and the toilet. Some kids put, you know, they have to wipe, and they think it's a regular toilet, and they stuff it with toilet paper. I could not get this thing working, and I'm there for 2 hours this day, trying to snake this. Hey, I'm a musician. I got clean hands. I don't snake, okay? I don't do any of this. And so she calls me up. I said, hi, what's up? She goes, hey, my cousin, I think it's your cousin, they're here visiting, and we just don't want to sit around the pool with them anymore, you know? It's like, can we come out and see you? I said, sure, come on out. And it was like all I need is to entertain people, right? I said, I'll take them for a boat ride. They get here, and you, Joanne, and the two from Australia. Right. So I said, well, here I am on the boat with them. I might as well talk to him. So I said, my name's Wally, and he told me his name. I said, all the time, Wayne? Yeah. And I say, well, what do you do for a living? He goes, I'm a plumber. It was so cool, Joanne. That was so cool. He told me do this and this and this. And it did, it worked. That's the magic about her. And I'm the treasurer for the gathering, okay? And for years we've been working on, like, you know, branding, right? Branding. We hired a consultant, you know, thousands of dollars to get Joanne to realize that the Gathering of Light is not just a spiritual place, but it's a business. Hello. Because I'm looking at the year-to-date returns, and it's like, hey, I think you're going out of business here. You know, it's like, really? I feel fine. Hey, Joanne? You know, everybody else going, we're fine. We're just going to give away some money over here and over here. But I said, can't you see it's like bleeding? You know, it's like this. We turned it around. We turned it around. Took a lot of the work that the consultant did, and that didn't go to waste because you really started getting a handle. And we started the pledging, which has been fantastic. We got a big donation from another church, huge. So with the pledging, the donations, and people doing more and giving more of themselves, like, you know, if you're giving 25, give 27.50, give us 10% more. Just give more. We are really, really doing well. I mean, this is a gathering of light. I don't want to get into the finances, but I'll give you my number. You can call me and I'll go through the numbers. But we are, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars working towards, well, the startup, where we work on the startup kids, but families, but also to get and want to buy our own building. And we're getting there. Hey, man. We're getting there. I mean, we're only a couple of years away before we have some big, huge down payment. And I can feel it. I can feel that we're going to have our own church. And that means that you're going to have a place to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She's going to have an office. Everybody's going to have something in there. And if you know whose gathering of light it is, it will be your gathering of light. Hey, that's where I go. It is, but you know, you're going to walk in that building, and it's a different feeling when you have that.
But it's your house.
It's different. So Joanne, thank you very, very much for all these years. And I love you, Joanne. I told you I love you.
Oh, wow. Hey, my name is Artie Jacques, and I'm the president of GLO. And it's my pleasure to be here listening. I've always felt comfortable.
No, go ahead.
From day one, I felt home, definitely. Yeah, not only with Reverend Joanne, but just all the members just felt embraced, accepted, and loved. Yeah, but the thing that got me most was when Reverend Joanne does a message and how it comes through her. I know it's not her, but I love the way it comes through her and her style. It really resonates with me. And just message after message after message. And not only the messages, but just the way she lives her life as an example. Her example brought out the best in me. Whenever I go around, be around Reverend Joanne, I feel the energy. And it would just raise me up, her spirit. And I'm an energy guy. So, yeah, really. So I am, it's just a wonderful blessing to be part of this gathering of light and all you guys in the community and all that we do. And I'm in the seminary also, and we're halfway through right now, and I just love how that experience in the seminary is uncovering, exposing myself and my love for myself, and how I'm changing, ever dying to yesterday, ever becoming the beautiful soul that I was born to be, and ever forgiving and accepting anything I said or did before I learned better. And I want to thank you, Reverend Joanne, for helping me uncover and find out who I really am and who I am becoming. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, I'm the other Artie. Reverend Joanne's son, Artie. I don't come around much, but when we have these big milestones, I, dust off my canned speech about being at the first gathering of light. So I'll give you the origin story for those of you who don't know. Once upon a time, an angel came down and said to my mom, "A congregation will be born unto thee." And then when it was time, there was no room at the other churches on Long Island. And the first gathering was held at a manger. It wasn't, it was actually a basement in a chiropractor's office.
Close enough.
Very close, yeah. And there weren't 3 wise men. She instead had her 3 wise guy sons with her, one of whom may or may not have lit the ceiling on fire. I was going to blame Brian, but it was definitely me. I did that. So from my perspective, that's how it all began 30 years ago. A single mom, 4 kids, community that didn't quite exist, and somehow my mom saw the light where there was none yet. She created something that hadn't been there before, a space for peace, connection, spirit, and love. And not just for us, but for the hundreds of people, maybe thousands, who found their way here throughout the years. Growing up, I'll be honest, it was a little different and hard to explain to friends. Their moms were making Italian cookies, and mine was saluting the archangels in the 4 directions. But over the years, these same friends, they reached out. They needed a wedding officiated, a child blessed, a final goodbye, honoring someone. And they asked her because they knew she would bring light and comfort and truth to it all. And what I've come to understand is that my mom didn't just take the road less traveled. She built it. And she did it. wit, humor, and a fierce kind of love that made room for everyone to walk it too. I'm going to quote the poet Amanda Gorman, who, fun fact, is younger than The Gathering. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. And Mom, thank you for being brave enough to be the light again and again. And happy birthday and congratulations on 30 years.
So let's eat cake. I love you all. I know there's so many. Oh, we got a song. Yes. We're going to have a song.
This is in honor of Joanne's accomplishment and her recent trip. This is a celebration of the Divine Feminine.
How long did she give you to practice?
By the earth, this is your body. By the earth, mother of us all. By the earth, future and past, the circle is cast. The circle is cast. The circle is cast. Zach got the training. Zach loves it. Oh, yeah.
I got it down in West
Katie like puts it all in, I don't know, I'm like, I like it, and I can be very focused on like music or writing, whatever, but like to. I can do that, but the rest of life, and I do it around very close. We come up with new stuff. It was not a template of 100 days. It was create, which was amazing. And meeting the ministry to the moment. And it's really I do feel like all of us had like a dedication, not a perfection, but we want it to be meaningful and to have the experience. So each one of us in our way cared about it. And now, you've been in the gym because how old are you? Reconnect today. Comes together. Exactly, yeah, reading that. No, you don't. Good to see you.
Please, everybody take your places, so I don't have to hear tomorrow.
I'm gonna take somebody's paper. Molly.
Any of these
What is that? I don't know how this, 10 pounds.
Looking around, right?
Hurt my hand.
earmark it. You got it here? Because I want to start, just give it to me. I'll put it in my pocket. And I know it's you, cash.